All right, Dallas traveling to Atlanta to face the Falcons in a game that I personally would describe as a must-win at this point. Dallas comes in 3-4, the wild card in the NFC right now, well above 500 at 5-2. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles both at 5-2. So if they lose this one to Atlanta, who's pretty much in the driver's seat in the NFC South right now, they only have a one-game lead on the Bucs, but they own the tiebreaker there, and the Bucs are reeling with injuries. So this one means a lot more for the Cowboys than it does the Falcons. BMAC, I want to start with you. What matchups are you looking at in this game, and how do you see it playing out?
But for me, Dallas, I just need to see a complete game for them because to your point, I agree. This is a must win for the Dallas Cowboys because you cannot afford to be 3-5 after this matchup. This is solely about the Dallas Cowboys. But can we see a complete game from the Cowboys? When you look at what they've done in their losses, they get off to slow starts. Last week, a slow start. Then, of course, they try to get things going in the second half, but it was a little too late by then. So can they play better football for 4 quarters on both sides of the football field? Can they run the football? Can they find a way to slow down the ground attack? Because Atlanta has really done a real good job running the football as of late. So for the Dallas Cowboys, at the end of the day, guys, it's about finding a way to win. You have to win this ball game by any means necessary. Because if you lose this ball game if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're 3-5. In the next 3 games, you play Philly, Houston, Washington. Philly, Houston, Washington. You have to win this game because if you go in that 3-game stretch, 3-5, after that 3-game stretch, you might be 3-8. And if that's the case, the season is disco dead.
You know what? This Cowboys team has concerns on both sides of the football, and you talked about having to play a complete game of football. Well, that's all 3 phases. I need to see a huge play on special teams from this group. I need to see Dak Prescott take care of the football throughout the last 3 games, 6 interceptions for Dak Prescott, resulting in 24-plus points for the opposing offenses. So, yes, they haven't been able to stop the run. No, they haven't been able to run the football effectively, and that puts Dak Prescott in this offense behind the 8 ball, trying to find that connection with CeeDee Lamb down the field can result in turnovers. Got to take care of the football. You need to find a way to raise your expectations of yourself in that locker room. If you are one of these players that's been asked to step up and be a big part of this defense, you got to make it happen this week. You guys said it a number of times. A must win, must get off the bus with fangs in your mouth instead of normal teeth. I want to see them take a bite out of this run game, make Kirk Cousins and this offense one-dimensional, and then maybe you got a chance. But Dak Prescott, take care of the football, give her a chance to win a football game.
As a Packers fan, I've seen this story before with Mike McCarthy. I do not see it turning around because when adversity hits in Mike McCarthy's offense, he abandons the running game. And you've seen it on tape this year. The worst rushing offense in the NFL so far this season in terms of yards per game, the Dallas Cowboys, because they get down early and then they just stop running the football. And now they've been particularly good at running the football. That may be part of it, but you have to find more answers there to get balance, because the fact that you haven't been good at running football means that you're putting your offensive line, hanging them out to dry week in and week out, asking them to pass protect in so many obvious pass situations the way they are. You're putting Dak Prescott in bad situations, asking him to win you every single game with his arm. And you're seeing that more often than not, he's going to throw some picks when he's in those situations, especially when you have the pass protection he's had this year up front. Those tackles have just been a massive issue. Now, I will say this. They're going up against one of the worst pass rush and defensive lines. The 4th worst pressure rate of anyone in the NFL this season is the Atlanta Falcons. There's not guys who can win one-on-ones up front there. So if there's any sort of hope for them, it's the fact that maybe this passing game, maybe he'll have time to operate it. But I'm more worried about the other side of the football with the Dallas Cowboys. This defense trying to stop Atlanta's running game. I just don't see it happen. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb played really well against the San Francisco 49ers, and he was really the only shining light that you could look at as a Dallas Cowboy fan and say, hey, I'm proud of that effort. They're going to need him to have a Herculean effort. To your point, that Falcons rush group isn't tops of the league, so you're going to have some time to throw the football. It's going to be a lot of CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
All right, let's get to Detroit traveling to Green Bay for what should be the game of the weekend. That is, though, if Jordan Love plays. Big if at this point. He said it's realistic that he can play Sunday, But obviously, it looks like it's going to be one of those game time, test the groin sort of things to see if he does end up playing. Say he does play BMAC. What matchups are you looking for to decide this one?
Well, for me, I'm looking at the same matchups for either side. Jordan Love playing against this very, very feisty secondary for the Lions. You talked about Double B, Brian Branch, and Joseph. Those guys have done a real good job in creating turnovers. Not to mention, look at what Carlton Davis has done as well. He's been a big-time addition for their secondary when you look at providing experience and his ability to follow elite-like wide receivers from the opposing offense. And then when you look at Jared Goff, I mean, he's been unbelievable when you talk about his completion percentage and just how accurate he's been against secondaries. But this secondary that he's going against, Mike, you know better than all of us because you're a faithful cheesehead. This secondary led by Xavier McKinney, and Jair, those guys don't miss opportunities to create interceptions. So which secondary can get the upper hand on the opposing offense quarterback, right? That's what I'm looking forward to because these two units have really done a great job creating turnovers, giving their offense extra possessions. So for me, number one, I want to see Jordan Love in the lineup. I hope he's healthy enough to go because these two teams, I believe, have a legit shot to get to the Super Bowl, either or. So right now for Green Bay, this is a very, very important game because you win this ball game, you state your claim, not just in the NFC North as a top team, but in the entire NFC as one of the best teams as well. So this means a lot. And for Detroit, it's about keeping separation between you and the pack. Not the Packers, but the pack from everyone else in the NFC and, of course, that division. So I'm fired up. I can't wait to go. And like I told you guys earlier, I need a full game from Jordan Love because I'm fighting for my life in fantasy. And, Mike, if you can send a message to Jordan Love and say, listen, shoot it up, take all the pills, whatever it is that you need to go, be ready to go, let's go and have a good game.
Yeah, go in Aaron Rodgers' old stash in the practice facility where they bring the injured players to try stuff out. I'm sure he's got a stash with a couple vials in there that Jordan Love could benefit from dabbling with. But I'll say this, Aaron Glenn has his work cut out for him on the defensive side of the ball. The Packers can beat you a number of different ways, through the air or on the ground. But this Lions defense, they're a tough group against the run. So I fully expect them to pin their ears back and get gully early and often against this Packers run game, which will then lead to Jordan Love being forced to pick apart this defense. I talked about it earlier. Let's drop more guys into coverage, force Jordan Love's hand, force him to make a couple turnovers. That'll keep you in the game. And if you're the Lions, you already have the lead. It could blow the game wide open if you can get a couple turnovers. Who's going to stop the run? Is it the Lions or the Packers, B-Mac? That's the question I have. That's what I'm going to be looking for in the football game.
Yeah, I think the last matchup that we haven't really touched on that I'm going to have eyes on, and it's the one that I think everyone's worried about with the Detroit Lions, is how do they get pressure now? Aiden Hutchinson was a one-man pressure package before his injury. We've seen them do it via blitz the past couple weeks without him. But this Green Bay Packers offensive line has been one of the best units picking up the blitz in the NFL. They're one of the best pass protecting units in the NFL. And Jordan Love at home, when he has that hard count at his disposal, he can diagnose those things pre-snap and where they're going to be coming from. So who's going to win those one-on-ones and get to Jordan Love to make him throw that ball into coverage, to make him throw it early off his back foot and make him put those balls in harm's way that Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch can come down with? I'm not sure they have that guy. So that, to me, if I'm a Lions fan, is this thing that everyone's worried about. And if they don't, if it happens so that, Jordan Love carves him up, he's not under pressure all day long, I think we do see a move before the deadline for the Detroit Lions next week. All right, we're going to do a little bit more.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yo, Mike, I was about to say that. I was about to say this could be the game that forces Brad Holmes to make a move. Yes, I was really about to say that. I feel like I'm inside your mind right now. I'm in Mike's mind. I see a lot of cheese. What the freak is going on? I literally thinking the same thing to your point because they've been getting by, without Aiden Hutchinson. But this is a game where you're playing against a really, really good quarterback if he's healthy enough to go along with a very, very balanced offense, Josh Jacobs. And they got wide receivers that can go along with a slice of Kraft. He can go as well at the tight end position. You see what I did there? A slice of Kraft cheese. Shouts out to Cheesehead once again. But if they don't put pressure on Jordan Love, because, these two teams can face off in January football as well, playoff time. This could force Brad Holmes to say, you know what? I got to go get a guy I got to go get a guy right now, a legit guy. But then, Mike, if that was to happen, I don't know if that would be good for your cheeseheads, because if they go get a guy like Max Crosby, that might be really intriguing then. I don't know, Mike, if you want that. Y'all might not want to do too well Sunday. If that forces that move, yeah. Yeah.
Just ease off the gas pedal a little. You get a little lead, then maybe start running the ball. Don't really expose their pass rushing woes too much.